A former news anchor of nearly 30 years has announced she's given up her career to run for governor. Let's watch.
For 27 years, you've trusted me to tell you the truth, to bring Arizona's biggest stories into your living room. We've laughed, we've cried, we've cheered together. And then the news became spin. The stories became narratives, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It's been a serious struggle for me, and I no longer want to do this job anymore. I won't be part of the system that needs to lie and scare people to prove a point.
Joining me now is Kari Lake. Kari, thanks so much for your time.
I'm so happy to be here, Jackson. I'm glad that we could work this out and make it happen.
Absolutely. So I want to begin with yesterday because it was a big day for you. Former President Trump endorsed you. What was getting that endorsement like?
I mean, President Trump's endorsement is the biggest endorsement in all of politics, period. There's nobody who has a bigger impact. You know, so many times people are always trying to gather up a bunch of endorsements from politicians, and it really means nothing to the voter. But President Trump's endorsement means a lot because President Trump was, I believe, the greatest president of our lifetime. And he fought relentlessly day in and day out, even though he was being attacked by the media and by everybody else. He fought for us. And so people respect him. And his endorsement means a lot. Look at Ron DeSantis. He was sitting at 3% in the polls when President Trump came in and endorsed him, and he won by, I think it was 73% of the vote. So he's got a big impact. I'm thrilled and honored that he endorsed me.
And initially I was talking about how you worked for the media. So I want to know, why give it all up, a very successful career, to run for office?
I walked away from a very lucrative paycheck, lots of great benefits, a career that I guess you could say gave me some fame and all of that. But it just had become so unethical, the field of journalism. And even though I did my best to do the best job and the most fair job I could as a journalist, the corporate media had become so corrupt and so disinterested in telling the truth that I felt it was harming our community. And I no longer wanted to lend my voice, my heart, my face, my reputation to it anymore. Even though I tried to remain in there kind of as somebody who had common sense, and I was a conservative, one of the few conservatives in mainstream media, I always worried that if I left, there would be one fewer conservative mind and voice in the media. But I finally just relented and said, I can't do it anymore. I don't want to be part of the mainstream media that is trying to divide and tear apart our community and our country. So I walked away.
And tell me, what are some of the biggest problems that you think the state of Arizona faces?
So many problems, but first and foremost, our election system. If we do not have fair elections, honest elections, then we don't have a country, because we need to know that when we cast a vote, our vote counts, and only the legal votes count. And right now, and we saw it last Friday when the forensic auditors presented their report, we found out that tens of thousands of fraudulent, illegal votes were counted. And there's more information to come out of this audit. We are soon to get the analysis from the routers and also the paper ballot analysis from the high definition forensic camera that took pictures of each and every ballot. So I think we're going to be getting more information that shows there were even more fraudulent ballots. So that's the number one issue. We have to clean up our elections. We have to fix everything that the forensic report showed was wrong. And then, of course, we have the issue with the border. We've got our education, teaching woke curriculum to our children. We have a push to defund our police. We need to hire more police officers. We have so many issues here in Arizona, including water. I could go on and on, but I don't know how much time we have.
And you briefly touched on immigration. Talk to me about your thoughts on illegal immigration and problems related to that within Arizona.
Our border, let's talk about the border, because right now we have a lot of illegal immigration happening. We have people just running over the border, hundreds of thousands each month. It's really a border issue. We had an amazing border policy in place with President Trump. It was working. I covered Arizona, which means I covered border issues for 27 years here. And President Trump's border policy was working better than any other president in the time I've been in Arizona. Joe Biden comes in on day one, tears that policy back, and hands over control of our border to the cartels in Mexico. The cartels are in control of the US border right now, and that's a horrifying thought. And we're seeing what's happening. We've got tens of thousands of people sitting at the border in Texas right now. Our border is porous here in Arizona. So I'm all for legal immigration. I'm opposed to illegal immigration, and I do not believe that Joe Biden knows what he's doing when it comes to the border. He needs to reinstate immediately President Trump's border policy.
Also, what are your thoughts on the Second Amendment?
I'm 100% in support of our Constitution, and our founding fathers were prescient. It's almost as if they could see the future. They knew that our Second Amendment was the way that we would protect and keep our republic. They knew that was the way we would keep our Constitution. They knew that as Americans, we needed to be able to fight back against tyranny. And the Second Amendment is the only thing that's keeping us a free country right now. Look at what's happening in Australia, where they gave up their guns and their weapons, and now they are under complete enslavement by their government.
A big point of your campaign was talking about coronavirus lockdowns. What would you have done differently than Governor Ducey if you were the governor during the time coronavirus kind of plagued our lives?
I certainly would not have shut down people's businesses. I would have not shut down schools. I would have not ever shut down churches. That was wrong. He did that twice. He folded to the pressure from the activists in the media who were pushing for him to shut things down and mask everybody up. I would not have done that. I think the way that Governor Noem handled things was much better. She explained what the situation was, told the people of her state what the issues were, what the risks were, and let them decide how they best wanted to protect themselves, their families, and their businesses. What I would do right now if I were governor is I would do what they did in Iowa. They really changed the wording on it. They said we're no longer in a pandemic, we're in an endemic, which is what we basically face with seasonal flu. And so we have to be smart and wash our hands. And if we're sick, we stay home, but we don't shut down our entire economy. We don't shut down our schools and force our kids to wear masks all day in some sadistic theater. What we do is we'd be smart about it. If we're sick, we stay home. But there are treatments out there. I would definitely, as governor, open up and make available to the public ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. They're cheap, inexpensive drugs that work with very few side effects. And that's how I would handle it. And I would also let people know if they have risks, if they have obesity, if they have other health issues, that they need to do extra things to protect themselves.
Also, do you think you would have the backing of your state legislature if you were elected in order to pass laws and things of that nature?
I think so. I mean, I'm a friendly person. I'm easy to get along with. I know the media and social media is trying to paint me out to be a demon because I'm a Republican, and conservative women often get attacked. But I worked for 27 years as a journalist. I know how to forge relationships. And I think people who truly know me and people who've met me and encountered me over 27 years here in Arizona would say, I really liked her and we got along great and we had great conversation. And I think I would take that same approach. But you have to have a relationship with these people in the legislature. You can't just sit up on the 9th floor in the governor's office and never have any contact with them. And I don't think that our current governor, Governor Ducey, had a open enough relationship with the people in the legislature, giving them guidance on where he stood on issues so that they knew kind of where his mind was as they were working on legislation.
How would you be a governor for all people in Arizona? You mentioned in one of your interviews that you were a Democrat for a short while. So how do you work for everybody, even though you're a Republican?
I was raised a conservative, and I started out my voting career and as a voter as a Republican and a conservative. And I voted for many, many Republicans. Majority of people I voted for have been Republicans, but like other Americans who vote occasionally, and here in Arizona, we're independent minded, and sometimes we don't like how things are being handled. We'll vote for somebody else on the other side. But what I did learn, and what I think millions of Americans have learned, is that for a long time, we did not have good choices for president and for public office for the people running. We had people like George W. Bush, Obama, McCain, Romney. A lot of these people were pushing the same stuff. You started to wonder whose side were they on. It didn't feel like they were on the side of the American people. And President Trump came in, and we saw a man who gave up everything because he cared about America, and he was really fighting for the people of America. And that's when everyone's eyes started to open up and say, wait a minute, we've been getting a lot of bad politicians. No matter what side they were on, they were pushing a lot of the same garbage. So I am a Republican that wants to open our tent up wide. I want Democrats who have woken up to the lies and the terrible policies of the left that have driven this country and our state into a ditch. I want independents to come into the Republican Party. You win elections by bringing people into your party and having common sense policy that helps people. It doesn't hurt them. And that's what the Republican Party is.
How confident are you that Arizonans will elect you? Obviously, you have a lot of name recognition from being on TV all of those years. Do you think that's going to help you, and do you think you're going to win?
I believe that I will win and I will be the next governor of Arizona. I'm not trying to be boastful, but our polling is showing that we have a massive lead. Some of the polling that's been put out there shows it's smaller, but our internal polling shows I have a 25-point lead. That was before the endorsement from President Trump. So I'm really running right now against the Democrats. And Katie Hobbs, our Secretary of State, who ran the debacle election of 2020, is who I will be running against most likely, if she's not behind bars for running the most corrupt election in our history. So I've got my eyes set on taking down the leftist Democrats who are running, because Arizona is not a leftist state. We don't want to become California 2.0. We want to maintain our unique Western heritage and that Wild West spirit. And we're not gonna let the left take us down. We're gonna fight like heck every day to stop that.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'm just thrilled to be the Trump endorsed candidate. I think that's the most amazing thing. I also got an endorsement from General Michael Flynn, and I'm really honored to have that. He's also a true patriotic American who loves this country. And I will be the governor who is the governor of the people, and I will fight every day for Arizonans. I don't know any political favors. I don't have any corrupt friends in politics that I have to protect. I will only be fighting for the people of Arizona. If you want more information, karilake.com, KARILAKE.com. You can find more information and you can sign up to get our emails and make a donation. We're funded by the people, not the swamp.
All right, Kari Lake, thank you. Best of luck on your campaign.
I really thank you for your time.